Uh, Good morning, colleagues, learners, all colleagues in geography. I greet you this morning. This is Mr. Kongo. I'm going to share with you Geography Preparatory Exam, Paper 2. Okay, without any waste of time, I think that we had challenges somewhere, somehow, but in this memo discussion, I think we'll be able to look at some of the problems and how to address those problems. Without any waste time, I'll go directly to my presentation. Okay. As you can see here, it's preparatory examination, grade 12, geography, paper 2 for September 2021. It has marks of 150, where it is having 2 sections and 3 questions. The time allocated was 3 hours. So it is very important always, colleagues, to always remind learners of instruction and information as this paper was preparing them for their very final examination. So under section A, you know that we have question 1, which is rural and urban settlement, which counts 60 marks. Question 2 is economic geography of South Africa, as you can see on the screen here. It is it amounts 60 marks. Section B is map skills, question 3 for 30 marks. We just want to apologize because there were problems in this section that we have encountered when learners were writing this paper. But I think the problems will be addressed in this discussion. So continue with the instruction. You can see that learners are no longer choosing. They were expected to answer all 3 questions. And there is an lecture that is accompanied on this question paper. So these instructions, please, we urge all geography educators to always instill them in their learners' minds. Okay? So I think in a nutshell, learners have performed well, because I think paper 2, it was a paper where they were supposed to correct whatever marks that they have lost in paper 1. Okay. I think we can go directly to the discussion of the paper. Let's go to question 1, section A there, of rural and urban settlement. The question here under 1.1 was various options were provided as possible answers, and learners were supposed to choose an answer and write only the letter A to D. So the way I have structured this, as you can see, I have put it in such a way that we have a question, and on the alongside we have answers for that specific question. Let's go directly to 1.1.1. It says the largest type of rural settlement is what? So there were options that were given there. A was farmstead, and then we had a village, we had a hamlet, and we had a possible answer, town. So the correct answer is B. As you can see, I have written it here alongside here. Then going to question 112. A settlement is classified as rural because of what? A, number of people in the settlement. B, size of the settlement. C, function of the settlement. D, number of law order services. So the correct answer out of these options was C. Now coming to the concept of site or factors that influence site. 113 says the site of a rural settlement is influenced by the following factors. 8 says water, pasturage, and available land, relief, harbor access, and soil fertility, historical factors, topography and trade, water, market, and climate. So the correct answer there is, or the correct letter is A. 114, understanding of the concept again. A wet point settlement is found where? In a desert, A. B, away from marshes. C, at an oasis. D, on a high ground. So the correct answer out of all these letters, we find that is letter A. Wet point settlement is found in a desert. The following questions, 115, the largest rural settlement with a clustered pattern is a what? Possible answer: A, town, hamlet, village, and C, farmstead. So the correct answer there is D. Yeah. Then you have 116. The exact land on which a settlement is built. We have A, location. B, we have site. C, we have situation. D, we have area. So the exact land on which a settlement is built is site. So the correct letter is B. 117. Settlement found along a road. A says crossroad. B, T-shaped. C, linear. D, round. So settlement found along a road, we know that it is a linear. So the correct letter is here. That is C. Okay. Now coming to the next question, very simple and straightforward, I think. I have compiled it in such a way that you see answers are found alongside the question. Learners were supposed to match each of the description below with either high order or low order goods and services. So they were supposed to write only high or low next to the question numbers in their answer book. Now looking at 121, we have goods used on a daily basis like bread and milk. Correct answer is that the goods that are used on daily basis like bread and milk falls under low order. 122, sorry. Have a small threshold population that is categorized under low order. 123, customers travel long distances to obtain these goods and services. So that one falls under high order. 124, a local supermarket is an example of this type of service. So the correct answer there is low. 125, medical specialists are an example of this type of service. So the correct answer is high. 126, services that are in the majority, we found that they are categorized under low order. Then we have 127, expensive and seldom purchased products. So those falls under high order functions. Now, the last one here is 128, which says the large sphere of influence is required to support this service. That falls under high order services. So as you can see, you allocate 1 marks for each correct answer. There is 8 multiplied by 1. The subtotal there is 8. Okay. Going to the next question here, we have, okay, figure 1.3, which shows rural-urban migration. Okay. Let's go to the figure. We will visit our annexure, as you can see there. We have figure 1.3, which says rural-urban migration. Then you can see that we have push and pull factors there. We have rural areas here where we have a hand that is like pressing on these people here. This hand shows that these people are forced now to leave this area, maybe into this area. And this, again, on this other side, you can find that there is a hand that looks like it is pulling there. So that falls under urban area. Then it means that the factors that causes people to move from rural to urban areas. Okay. So going back to our discussion, 1.3 was saying, define the concept of rural-urban migration. So as this is a concept, we'll have many various answers on this. But the correct answer is movement of people from rural areas to urban areas. So it is a concept. Bear in mind that we'll have various answers on this one. So 1.3.2 says, name 2 push factors that may result in rural-urban migration. Okay, we have many answers there. We have lack of services that can push people, lack of entertainment facilities, 1 mark, unemployment or low wages, 1 mark, natural disasters, 1 mark, mechanization of farms, 1 mark. But be careful, much as we have a lot of possible answers, but you only allocate for any 2, which is 2 multiplied by 1, which is equals to 2. Let's continue to the next question, which is 1.1.3. Explain 1 negative social impact of rural-urban migration for the South African community. There are many answers there. The negative social impact of rural-urban migration could be population imbalance, as mostly very young people, women, and elderly remain. Then we have services such as schools, clinics going to close down due to few people. Then the other negative social factor could be increase in crime, as there are many vulnerable people. So out of all these answers, we only allocate for any 2. So it will amount to 2 marks. Give the term used to describe movement of people from urban to rural areas. The term that is used to describe that movement is counter. This one is counter-urbanization, or the correct answer is counter-urbanization. 1.3.5, a paragraph question now. Remember that learners here, when they write their paragraphs, they are not supposed to write that in point forms, but they are expected to write like maybe giving us full sentences here. Okay, so let's go to the possible answers that promote economic development in the rural areas. 1, we have to introduce entertainment facilities and festivals, introduction of tourism and ecotourism activities, build industries in rural areas to create more employment opportunities, 2 marks, improve infrastructure in the area to link with urban areas, 2 marks, new investors attracted to the area is 2 marks, upgrade or provide basic services in rural areas which will attract people with increased buying power, 2 marks. I think there are ample of possible answers here. Again, you only choose 4 out of all this. So it is 4 multiplied by 2, which is equals to 8. Okay. Let's go to the next question. It says figure 1.4 shows land use zones. Let's go to the figure. Okay, remember, this is very, very important one. That falls under these models. We have land use zones. We also have a model here, which is multiple nuclei. This model, as you can see here, at 1 is our nuclei where we have central business district. 2, at 2 here, is our transition zone, wholesale light manufacturing. At 3, and here and there, we have low income residential. Then at 4 here, we have middle income residential. Then at 5, high income residential. At 6, heavy manufacturing. And then at 7 here, we have outlying business district. And then at 8, we have residential suburb. And then at 9 there, we have industrial suburb. Now let's go directly to the questions there. One one four, okay. 114. Yes, there we are. 114 says shows land use zones. So the first question there, 141. For 2 marks, define the concept land use zone. It's an area in an urban set aside for one dominant type of activity. And as you can see, you may come across learners here which can say area in an urban set aside for one specific, here under dominant, one specific type of activity. We also allocate a mark for that. It is a concept again, you'll have various answers from the candidates. 142, describe 2 characteristics of land use zone at 1. Remember that on our annexure, the land zone at 1 was the central business district. So the characteristics thereof are tall buildings, and the CBD as well is seen at the center of each city. The land is expensive. It is the commercial heart of the city. Main roads converge into the center. So these are the characteristics of the central business district in that model. So you allocate 2 marks for each. We have many answers here, but you only take 2, which will be 2 multiplied by 2, which will amount to 4 marks. Then there was a transition zone here, 143, in our annexure there. This land use zone at 2 have a high land value. Have a high land value there. So explain why. Why is it like that? So you find that it is found next to the CBD. That is why it's having a high land value. And again, it is the future expansion of the CBD. Then 2 marks for that question. 144, identify land use zone at 6. So the land zone at 6, remember there? It was heavy industry. So identify the land use zone. What is given in the model there? It is given that it is a heavy manufacturing. 1 marks for that. 14.5 state 2 possible factors that determine the location of land use zone at 6. So you find that for the mere fact that it is a heavy industry, the land is cheap there, and again, this land use zone at 6 is found on the edge of the city. So you allocate 2 marks for that. 146. Explain why land use zone at 5 and land use zone at 6 are compatible. You find that this land use zones, the other one has a high pollution level from the industry at 6 there, which decreases the beauty of high income residential areas as the land use zone at 5. Then at 6 there, the industries, as you can see, they contribute to high noise level and also make it unattractive for high income residential areas. 2 marks for that. Land use zone of high residential areas decreases if it's located too close to industrial areas. So 2 marks for that. So you only, out of 1, 2, 3, you only take any 2. So it will be 2 by 2, which is equals to 4. Figure 1, 4, 5 is based on an urban issue. Let's go to the figure. As you can see here, there are myriad cars here that you can see on this figure here. So this is one of the problems that we have in urban area. So let's go back to our discussion. 151 says, identify urban issue shown in figure 1.5 for 1 mark. So I think it was easy for candidates to mention this. Traffic congestion. As you can see on the figure there, or annexure, there are many cars that are seen in that picture. 152 says, why is the urban issue more severe between 6 and 8 hours? I think this is the problem that learners see on daily basis, and they can maybe attempt to say everyone is driving to work at the same time. That is why there is severe traffic between 6 and 8. 153, explain why transport infrastructure makes this a common occurrence. The transport infrastructure that we have is because we have freeways, roads, do not have enough lanes. We also have public transport that is not reliable or that is not safe. We have too many private cars on the road at the same time. Roads are not well maintained, or we have potholes. We have unsynchronized traffic lights. We have road closures for repairs. So that is the explanation of why this is a common occurrence. And you only consider any 2 out of all this, and you allocate 4 marks for that. Okay. 154. Describe the effect that this urban issue may have on daily commuters. You find that it can lead to late arrival at work for 2 marks, then personal frustration or stress when people are stuck on the road. It sometimes leads to road rage. It sometimes has high costs of fuel that is used. And it also contributes to car maintenance, replacing of tires more often. So out of all this, you only take 2. And that amounts to 4 marks. Okay, the next question. 155. Suggest 2 possible ways in which this urban issue can be reduced. Ample of answers are given here. Usage of public transport can reduce this problem. We can also have lift clubs, can also build ring roads, can build one-way streets, can have synchronized traffic lights, can have flexi time, staggered working hours, decentralization of businesses is one of the ways or possible ways that we can address this issue, or the way in which we can reduce it. So we only take 2 again here. That will be 4 marks all in all, 2 by 2. Okay. So that is the end of question 1. So the marks for the entire question 1 is 60. Okay, let's proceed to the next question. Question 2 was of economic geography of South Africa. I think most of the learners have also performed well in this section, okay? So here 2.1 says choose the correct words given in brackets to make statement through. Write only the words next to the question number in the answer book. Example 2.1.9 secondary. Okay, let's go to the first question. 2.1.1 says agriculture is an example of what? Learners choose between primary, tertiary. Which one falls under agriculture? So you can see here it is primary activity. 2.1.2 secondary or tertiary activities are concerned with provision of services to consumers. So the correct answer there is tertiary. Products manufactured for sale to other countries are regarded as exports or imports. So the correct answer for 2.1.3 is exports. 2.1.4, beef production, which entails using large tracts of land, is known as intensive or extensive farming. So the correct answer is extensive farming. 2.1.5, products sold within South Africa are referred to as the home market or import market. The correct answer is home market. 2.1.6, coal or iron ore is used for power generation in South Africa. So for power generation, we know for sure that we use coal. So the correct answer is coal. 2.1.7, small scale, large scale farming is associated with any foreign income. So the correct answer there is large scale. 2.1.8, coal is a renewable or non-renewable resource. So for the mere fact that we found it after many years, it is non-renewable because it takes many years to recover if we deplete it. Okay, so we have question 2.2, which says refer to the figure 2.2 and match the types of industries in the diagram with the statement below. Write only the type of industry next to the question number in the answer book. Example 2.2.8 secondary, you may only use each answer once. All right. Let's go to the figure or look at the figure. All right. This is the figure that shows types of industries. Learners were supposed to study these types of industries that are given in this figure. Types of industries, we have market-orientated. They have to choose from raw material-orientated, export-orientated, footloose, light industries, ubiquitous industries, heavy industries, and bridge industries. And remember that only one option is expected of them. They only use one option once. Okay. Okay, the first question there, 221 says, generally produces perishable goods. We have market-orientated. We have market-orientated, produces bulky raw materials. Raw material-orientated is the correct answer there. Located anywhere and are not restricted by location of markets or raw materials. Ubiquitous is located anywhere. 224, located anywhere without an effect from factors such as resources or transport. So that is footloose. 225, located between the source of raw materials and customers. That is a bridge industry. 226, need small spaces and can be located in the city center. That is light industries. They need small spaces. That is why they can be located in the city center. 227, located on the outskirts of cities close to bulk transportation. The type of industry that is located close to bulk transportation is heavy. So 1 mark for each correct answer there. 7 multiplied by 1 is equals to 7. That is the total mark for that sub-question. Okay. 2.3 says question 2.3 is based on food security. Okay. Food security. 231 says define the term food security. Again here, this is a concept. Be careful of that. It is a concept. So food security is when all people in a country have access to adequate and nutritious food to maintain their healthy lifestyle. So that is 2 marks for that concept. And it is very, very important to look at these keywords again: nutritious, adequate, and healthy lifestyle when you allocate marks for this one, food security. 232 says identify one program initiated to promote food security mentioned in the extract. I think some of the answers were found in that extract. Let us look at the extract quickly. As you can see, if I may read this quickly, too little, too slow. Food insecurity is still remarkably high in the poorest areas of KwaZulu-Natal province of South Africa. Many rural households struggle to have access to sufficient nutritious food they need or prefer. The Empowerment of Food Security program, running since 2010, is one of the programs aimed at improving agricultural practices by encouraging the development of community gardens and home gardens. Despite efforts to promote these gardens, it did little to improve food security for the community. Government needs to encourage small-scale farming, which would have a more significant impact on food security. In this question, again, answers were conspicuous here. Now, I think most of the learners were able maybe to find answers from this extract. Let's go back to the questions. As this one, 232, one program initiated to promote food security, they can easily identify that in the extract. Empowerment for food security program, it was found in the extract. 233, why is it important to improve food security in places like KwaZulu-Natal? These possible answers were still seen in the extract. To ensure that citizens enjoy a healthy lifestyle, 2 marks. To increase the life expectancy, 2 marks. To ensure peace in the country, 2 marks. Any two, 1 multiplied by 2 will be 2 marks. Okay? 2, 3, 4. Explain one environmental factor that led to food insecurity in South Africa. The first one that you can see is drought. But remember, be careful, they say explain. Explain here, environmental factor. So meaning that we need to be very careful when we allocate marks in this one. The learner has to mention maybe drought, which occurs when there is not enough water for irrigation for crops. There is then that we can allocate marks for explanation. Floods. Crops and fertile soil can be washed away because of floods. Pests can also attack crops and destroy them. Any two here, 1 multiplied by 2. I mean, any one here, out of these 3, 1 multiplied by 2 will be 2 marks. Okay? 235. In a paragraph of approximately 8 lines, explain how the government can develop small-scale farmers with an aim to significantly improve food security. The government should provide skills training on best practice, 2 marks. Access to small loans funding to buy equipment and seeds, 2 marks. Subsidize small-scale farmers, 2 marks. Encourage use of hybrid seed, 2 marks. Improve irrigation methods, 2 marks for that. Planting surplus in good season, 2 marks. Empowering small-scale farmers on specific methods of farming, 2 marks. Growing of genetically modified food, 2 marks.